There are moments in life when we feel the weight of repetition, when the days blur together and the routine dulls our edge. Yet, beneath that ordinary rhythm lies a deeper truth. Every single day is a divine appointment. Every sunrise carries with it a fresh opportunity to recalibrate, to grow, and to prepare, not just for the demands of today, but for the destiny we are called to. Nothing about our existence is random. Every detail, every choice, every thought forms a mosaic of eternal consequence. If we are not deliberate in improving ourselves daily, we drift. And drifting is never neutral. It always pulls us away from purpose. Improvement is not about striving for perfection in the world's eyes, nor is it about adding more noise to our lives. It is about sharpening the very tools God has entrusted us with: our mind, our heart, our relationships, our discipline, and our spiritual walk. If we fail to cultivate these areas, we live far beneath the potential planted within us. But if we commit daily and intentionally to 5 essential improvements, we align ourselves with the kind of growth that leaves a legacy beyond our years. 1. Sharpen your mind, the discipline of lifelong learning. The mind is the battlefield where victories and defeats are first won. Every action, every decision, every path we take begins with the thoughts we allow to dwell within us. If the mind is neglected, it becomes dull, easily swayed, and vulnerable to the influences of a world bent on distraction. But when we choose to sharpen it, when we treat it as a tool that requires constant honing, we begin to walk in clarity, discernment, and wisdom. Lifelong learning is not a suggestion for the curious. It is a command for the serious. Those who stop learning stop leading. The moment we think we know enough is the moment we drift into irrelevance, because truth is inexhaustible and wisdom is without end. Each day, we must ask ourselves, what have I fed my mind with today? What voices am I listening to? What truths am I ignoring? Sharpening the mind means more than accumulating information. It is about cultivating the ability to discern between truth and error. Knowledge alone can puff up, but understanding equips us to act rightly, and wisdom teaches us when to speak and when to be silent. We live in a culture drowning in data but starving for meaning. Our responsibility, then, is not to consume more noise, but to pursue depth, clarity, and substance. Read books that stretch your thinking, not just those that confirm what you already believe. Challenge yourself with perspectives that force you to wrestle with your assumptions. Above all, anchor your thoughts in truth that does not change, for without that anchor, the winds of ideology will sweep you away. This discipline requires humility, because true learning begins with admitting how little we know. Pride says, "I have arrived," but wisdom says, "I am still on the journey." Each conversation, each book, each observation of creation is an invitation to grow. Even failures become teachers when the mind is sharp enough to glean their lessons. If you refuse to learn from your mistakes, you are doomed to repeat them. But if you pause, reflect, and apply, every stumble can become a stepping stone. Sharpening the mind also demands consistency. Just as a blade grows dull without use, so the mind loses its edge if neglected. 10 minutes a day invested in focused reading, reflection, or study compounds into a lifetime of wisdom. The problem is not that we lack time. The problem is that we squander it on the trivial. Replacing 30 minutes of idle scrolling with 30 minutes of thoughtful learning could change the trajectory of an entire life. Finally, sharpening the mind must always point toward application. What good is it to store knowledge that never transforms behavior? A sharp mind is not meant for pride, but for service. It equips you to lead, to discern, to teach, to guide others away from error and toward truth. When your mind is honed daily, you become a vessel through which wisdom flows, and your influence extends far beyond what you may ever see. To improve your mind each day is to prepare for every opportunity, every challenge, and every divine assignment that lies ahead. 2. Guard your heart, cultivating inner strength and character. The heart is the wellspring of life, the place where motives are formed, desires are shaped, and character is tested. Everything flows from it: our choices, our relationships, our faith, and even our future. To neglect the heart is to leave the most vital part of ourselves exposed to corruption. Guarding the heart is not about building walls of isolation, but about cultivating the kind of strength and character that resists compromise and remains steadfast in the face of temptation, disappointment, and distraction. We live in a world that constantly seeks to infiltrate the heart with fear, bitterness, envy, and lust. Left unguarded, the heart becomes a breeding ground for weakness. But when it is carefully tended and fortified, it becomes the source of resilience, courage, and integrity. Cultivating inner strength begins with vigilance. What are we allowing into our hearts each day? Every word we hear, every image we see, every thought we entertain is planting seeds. Some seeds bring life, others bring decay. A careless heart allows anything to take root, but a guarded heart filters what enters, choosing carefully what will shape its desires. To cultivate character, we must be intentional about these choices, because our character is not revealed in moments of ease, but in the crucible of pressure. When we are tested, we do not rise to the occasion, we fall back on the strength of our character. If the heart is weak, compromise is inevitable. But if the heart is strong, integrity holds, even when the cost is high. Guarding the heart also requires discipline. Inner strength does not develop by accident. It grows through consistent practice of truth, self-control, and accountability. Just as muscles are built through resistance, character is built through challenges. The struggles you face today are not meant to crush you, but to strengthen you. Every trial becomes an opportunity to deepen resilience, to choose honesty over deceit, purity over compromise, patience over anger. These small victories in unseen places forge the character that will stand in the larger battles of life. Another aspect of guarding the heart is forgiveness. Bitterness corrodes character faster than any external attack. When we hold on to grudges, we give away power and poison our own souls. Forgiveness does not mean excusing wrong. It means releasing its hold over our hearts. Inner strength is not hardened cynicism, but a heart that has been tempered by grace. Only then can we love without fear, stand firm without hatred, and endure without despair. Finally, to guard the heart is to anchor it in truth that transcends our emotions. Feelings are fleeting, they shift with circumstances. But truth remains unshaken. When the heart is anchored, storms may rage, but they cannot destroy. Character rooted in truth is immovable because it does not depend on public approval or temporary gain. To improve daily in this area is to check the condition of your heart, to remove the weeds of resentment, to water it with truth, and to strengthen it through discipline. Each day spent guarding your heart prepares you to stand strong, to live with integrity, and to influence others through the quiet power of unshakable character. 3. Nurture relationships, building bridges that last. Relationships are the fabric that weaves meaning into our lives. They are not accidents of proximity, but divine appointments that shape us, test us, and refine us. No one is designed to walk through life alone, yet many treat relationships as disposable, as though people can be used for convenience and then cast aside. To nurture relationships is to recognize their sacred weight. It means investing daily in the people entrusted to us, building bridges that can weather storms, misunderstandings, and the passage of time. A life rich in possessions but bankrupt in relationships is ultimately empty, but a life rooted in genuine connection becomes a legacy that outlives us. Nurturing relationships requires intentionality. Bonds do not strengthen by neglect, they weaken. Like a fire left unattended, they grow cold. Every day provides opportunities to affirm, encourage, and listen to those around us. Small gestures, an encouraging word, a patient ear, a simple act of kindness carry immeasurable weight. The strength of a relationship is not measured in grand declarations, but in the consistency of daily care. To improve in this area means choosing to prioritize people over distractions, presence over busyness, and depth over shallow interaction. Building bridges that last also demands humility. Pride and stubbornness are wrecking balls in relationships. Many connections have been lost not because of deep betrayal, but because of an unwillingness to admit fault or extend grace. A nurtured relationship is one where forgiveness flows freely, where apologies are given quickly, and where the value of the bond outweighs the need to be right. When humility governs our interactions, bridges are not easily burned, and even when broken, they can be rebuilt. Another dimension of nurturing relationships is discernment. Not every relationship is meant to occupy the same space in your life. Some people will encourage you, sharpen you, and help you grow, while others will drain you and pull you away from your purpose. Nurturing does not mean clinging to what is toxic. It means wisely investing in what is life-giving. Building bridges that last requires knowing which bridges are worth repairing and which roads are best left behind. But when you find those who share your values, who challenge you toward growth, who stand with you in adversity, those are the relationships worth guarding fiercely. Relationships thrive on trust, and trust is built through consistency. Words matter, but actions matter more. Each kept promise, each moment of reliability, each sacrifice made for the good of another becomes a stone in the foundation of trust. Over time, this trust creates bridges that can carry the weight of conflict, distance, and trials without collapsing. In the end, nurturing relationships is not just about what others receive, it is also about who we become. As we give of ourselves, time, patience, love, we are shaped into people of compassion and depth. Every day spent improving how we care for others is a day invested in eternity, for what we build in relationships endures far longer than what we build with our hands. To nurture relationships daily is to live beyond yourself, to create bonds that echo into the lives of others long after you are gone. 4. Master your habits, small disciplines, eternal impact. Habits are the invisible architects of our destiny. They shape our days, and in shaping our days, they shape our lives. Most people think their future will be determined by one or two grand decisions, but in reality, it is the small, repeated choices that carry the greatest weight. What you do consistently matters far more than what you do occasionally. Mastering your habits is about recognizing that discipline, even in the smallest of areas, compounds into outcomes far greater than we imagine. Each day is a brick, and habits are the way we lay those bricks. The question is not whether you are building something, but what you are building, and whether it will stand. The danger is that bad habits are just as powerful as good ones. Laziness practiced daily becomes weakness of character. Neglect of small responsibilities grows into failure in larger ones. Indulgence in seemingly harmless compromises becomes enslavement to destructive patterns. No one wakes up and suddenly ruins their life. It happens slowly, one poor habit at a time. That is why mastery is urgent. If we do not control our habits will control us. Mastering habits begins with awareness. Too often we drift through routines without considering their impact. We excuse our actions as harmless without realizing they are shaping who we are becoming. Pausing daily to reflect, asking yourself, what are my habits producing in me, is the first step to mastery. Every habit either strengthens or weakens you. There is no neutral ground. Once you identify the patterns that hold you back, you can begin the work of replacing them with disciplines that move you forward. Change does not come through willpower alone, but through structure. A sharp mind and strong intentions mean little without systems to sustain them. Habits thrive on consistency, and consistency thrives on simplicity. Start with small disciplines, rising at the same time each day, setting aside moments for reflection or prayer, choosing nourishment over indulgence, dedicating focused time to learning. These small disciplines may appear insignificant, but over years they accumulate into character, productivity, and influence. The seeds of great lives are planted in small routines. Another key to mastering habits is perseverance. The process is rarely smooth. Failure will come, and the temptation to quit will whisper loudly. But each time you return, each time you choose discipline over apathy, you strengthen the muscle of resilience. Mastery is not about perfection, but persistence. The one who stumbles yet rises again develops strength the complacent never know. Habits are not just about efficiency or self-improvement. They are about alignment with purpose. The disciplines you cultivate today prepare you for assignments tomorrow. Every act of self-control, every moment of diligence, every refusal to compromise becomes part of a foundation that supports greater responsibilities and opportunities. When you master your habits, you are not merely managing your time. You are shaping your eternity. To improve daily in this area is to choose to live intentionally, to recognize that no action is too small to matter, and to trust that the invisible work of discipline today will yield visible fruit tomorrow. 5. Deepen your walk with God, the anchor of daily renewal. The deepest need of the human soul is not success, recognition, or comfort. It is connection with the one who created us. Without that connection, life becomes shallow, no matter how full it looks on the surface. To deepen your walk with God is to anchor yourself in the only source of strength that never fails, wisdom that never falters, and love that never runs dry. It is not a matter of occasional devotion, but of daily renewal, for yesterday's faith cannot sustain today's battles. Just as the body requires daily bread, the spirit requires daily nourishment from His presence and His word. This walk is not about ritual for the sake of routine. It is about relationship. Too many settle for knowing about God rather than knowing Him personally. To walk with Him is to invite His presence into every decision, every struggle, and every success. It is to see beyond the surface of circumstances and to align your perspective with His eternal truth. When you deepen this walk, you are not escaping the world. You are equipping yourself to face it with courage and clarity. Daily renewal requires intentional time set apart. The demands of life will always shout louder than the quiet call of devotion, which is why discipline matters. A few focused moments of prayer, reflection, and study each day may seem small, but they recalibrate the heart and mind in powerful ways. This time is where burdens are exchanged for peace, confusion for guidance, and weakness for strength. Without it, we are left trying to fight battles in our own power, and that always ends in defeat. With it, we begin to see His hand shaping events, His Spirit guiding steps, and His promises sustaining hope. Deepening your walk with God also means obedience. Hearing truth without applying it is like storing food without eating it. It has no power to nourish. The strength of your walk is measured not just by what you believe, but by how you live. Each small act of obedience, whether it is choosing honesty, extending kindness, or surrendering control, builds intimacy with Him. In this intimacy, fear loses its grip, pride is humbled, and joy takes root. Another key to daily renewal is gratitude. A heart that constantly remembers God's faithfulness remains anchored even in storms. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what has been given, from fear of tomorrow to trust in His provision today. When practiced daily, it becomes a shield against bitterness and despair. In the end, deepening your walk with God is not just about personal peace, it is about impact. A life anchored in Him becomes a light to others, a steady presence in a shifting world. The stronger your connection, the greater your capacity to love, to serve, and to endure. To improve daily in this area is to acknowledge your dependence, to seek His presence, and to trust that every step closer to Him is a step closer to becoming who you were truly created to be.